Well, hi guys, good evening. I hope you're all well. Happy Tuesday. Really appreciate you guys being here because it is warm in the UK. So warm. We never get warm weather, so I imagine so many are out enjoying that today. We've got the lovely Catherine Murray on the call as well with us today, who's going to be keeping an eye on the waiting room and letting people in, but also sharing her amazing tips. Now, I hope you have got your pens and paper ready. This is probably going to be about a 40-minute call. We've got a lot to get through when it comes to follow-up. So we're going to be looking at why, how we follow up, how duplication is in the follow-up, and how to set yourself up with a really simple follow-up system as well. So we've also got our Polish translations for all of our amazing Polish team. Hope you guys are all well. So let's get cracking. The chat is open. So hot, I'm loving it. Yeah, same, Lynn. It's very warm in my office. It's like a little bunker. So I'm going to share my deck. Just 2 seconds. Hopefully this goes right. My mouse is not liking me today. Here we go. So hopefully you see that all okay. Any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I will try and keep an eye on that as we go. And so we can learn from each other, and hopefully if you've got any questions, we'll get to them as well. So let's get cracking. Tonight we're going to be looking at following up like a pro. So important in your business, and something that can go adrift sometimes when we're busy, not only in life, but busy in business. But we work so hard, guys. You guys work so hard to get the sale, to get the customer. What we want to do in Beyond Beauty Club, and what we want to do for you guys is support you in keeping them for as long as you possibly can do. So why is the follow-up so important? Mainly because it improves customer retention and loyalty. It builds a relationship with your customer. It increases your sales because you'll get, recommendations, you'll get upsells, you're building trust. So they'll naturally come to you when they think of something that they need in the nutrition or skincare space. You'll be their go-to person. And if you're following up right and consistently and building that friendship with them, you're automatically going to pop in their brain when they think, oh, I could really do with a collagen, or I could really do with a protein drink. And I wonder if we've got anything, for brightening the skin. You'll naturally get referrals from your customers because your customer service will be so great that it will just be second to none, and they won't get it via the shops. They won't get it from a store. So they'll be referring their friends to you and recommending your incredible customer service. And when you go, like I said, when you go to so much effort to get a customer, we want to keep them. We don't want them to just come to us for one cycle of their subscription. We want them to stay cycle after cycle. And to do that, we need to provide a personal service, excellent service, something that's different and beyond anything they can get if they go into a store. And we want to provide that value to them. Like, why should they be with us and stay with us? And you specifically, because what are they learning from you? And how often are they able to touch base with you to be able to pick your brains and get further advice from you? It's so important. And like sometimes, how many, let me know in the chat below, on average, how many new customers are you guys picking up each month? We've got our current customers that we're looking after, hopefully, but then how many new customers are we getting? And sometimes, do you feel that new customer takes a lot of time and effort to get? Because you're showcasing your results, you're showcasing your recommendations and what these products are doing for you. You're having conversations, and when they finally decide to buy, you want them to be invested in you as a person, as a brand ambassador, but also the products as well. So those are the main reasons that we really look for a follow-up. And you probably would have heard it many, many times that the fortune is very much in the follow-up. 48% of people never follow up with a customer, which is just insane to me. These are from some national statistics. 25% make a second contact and then completely stop. 12% only make 3 contact attempts to follow up with their customers. but 80% of sales require 5 to 12 follow-ups. Okay, 5 to 12. And this could be people that have inquired about a product and maybe just haven't bought yet, and maybe they just need you to keep touching base with them, keep educating them. This could be a customer that you're mainly you could look to be upselling something, and certainly a customer that you want to keep for retention. But what I love here is nurtured leads and customers. 47% make larger purchases. And for those of you that are on the call who love looking after your customers and touching base and following up, you'll find, and I can see sometimes from numbers, how these customers recur and their orders get bigger. Like they'll add on an SPF, and then they'll add on a booster. And then when we bring out a new product, they'll try that as well. And before you know it, when you look at your customer report, you'll see that their average spend with you, so far this year is really starting to accumulate. So if we look after, almost 50% of our customers will make bigger purchases with us, which is huge, because this is a huge amount of volume in your business. And it's wild that 80% of sales come to you between 5 to 12 follow-ups. Hands up. We can be honest here, we're all fans. How many of us get to 12 follow-ups with people when we're looking to see if they, they want to buy, or they're interested in a product that maybe they haven't committed yet? Who goes to 12? Because that can feel sometimes a little bit like, oh, but it can be done in so many ways. It isn't a case of, hi, Lynn, do you want to buy from me? Hi, Lynn, are you still interested in this product? Hi, Lynn, did you still want that product that you spoke about? Following up is in so many different ways. It is being that friend, being that personable person that is generally interested in others. So follow-ups can be done in so many ways. But what is also really wild is to know that 48% of people don't make a follow-up at all, which is just crazy, because that follow-up keeps so many people in your business. So when we're looking at doing follow-ups, how and when do we do this with our customers? Now, this is entirely up to you. What I'm going to do here is give you a blueprint of something I used to do in the field. You can adjust this in any way you see fit for your business. You might not be a 2-day, 2-week, 2-month type of person. You might be a 1-week, 1-month, 2-month type of person. But 2-2-2 is something I always found was easy for me to duplicate, easy for me to do with my team. So when you're having new customers, 2 days after they purchase, or you see that order in their back office, or you've had that conversation with them and you know that they've placed their order, it's just a simple thank you for your order is done and done. It's just a real great way to recognize that they've supported you in your business. If you've seen an order come through the back office that perhaps it's taking you by surprise, or maybe it's somebody that you had a conversation with 2 weeks ago and they finally got round to clicking on your link, drop them a message and after their initial purchase and say thank you for your order. 2 weeks is when you next want to follow up with them to check that their order has been received, that they're happy, how are they getting on, have they found it easy to use, and we'll be going through this in a little bit more detail in a second. 2 months to again see how they're getting on and share any further tips. So that's kind of like the system that I followed when I was in the field, and I'll break that down further for you in a second. But how and when we follow up, it can be different, like I've just mentioned. It can be social media, life updates and interaction. So if Catherine had inquired about buying the Rise powder from me, for instance, but then maybe had fallen off the boil, hadn't heard from her, I can still interact with her on social media and be a friend, pay an interest in her holiday, give her a little thumbs up if she's had a great time on the Easter break, shout out a new outfit that she's maybe posting about. It's just being a friend. That can form a follow-up as well. It's still being at the forefront, it's still being interactive, and it's making your name pop up again in their sort of social media feed. It could be just simple, the fact that the subscription renewal date is due, and we've got some further offers that you can reach out to them about. You can let them know of anything that they're going to get if they renew to their second cycle, which we've done a couple of times. You know, you can let them know about new products if you've got existing customers, and it can just be checking in to let them know, hey, this month we've launched this, let me know if you need any more information, if there's something that interests you. And the thought of you follow up is something that I think is incredibly powerful. The more that you become a friend and the more that you get to know your customers, and I know that Catherine's going to touch on this shortly, is you'll get to know their icks, their life, what they're into, what they're not into. You'll get into all types of conversations with them. And then when something comes up in business, if something comes up with Simon Orion, maybe it's a product, maybe it's we've released a different flavor, maybe you've got a customer that's like, oh, I really want Rise, but mango's just not my bag. I'd really love it if it came out in a berry. Maybe that one day that might happen, and you can say, hey, Lynn, sorry, Lynn, I'm using it as an example because I can just see you on my screen. Lynn, I thought of you because this has just been released in berry, and I know we had this conversation a while ago. Let me know if you want any more information. The thought of you follow up is so powerful because it shows that you listen. It shows that you're interested, and it shows that you're paying attention and you're offering that extra value piece with your customers when something comes around. And it may not even necessarily be anything to do with Beyond Beauty Club or Simon Orion products. And I know that, again, this is something that Catherine might have an example of. So the thought of you follow up is another way that you can generally follow up with your customers. So all these are different ways, but if you can regularly do it, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, you'll be keeping in constant contact in your flow with your customers. And what happens after 2 months? Everyone always asks me this. 2 months, I used to just go to like every 2 months I'd check in with them, or every 3 months I would check in with them, and I'd just put a long stop date in, and we'll look at that when we look at the system. So the first follow-up is 2 days after their initial order. Why do we do this? Purely to thank them for their order and supporting your business. It's really simple. It's just common courtesy. Yes, they get an email from Simon Orion, but they chose you. They chose to buy from you. They found your link. They've had a conversation with you. They've seen something on social media that spoke to them. We all share similar products, but we all do it in our own way, and we all talk about the benefits in a different way and what it's done for you, and that you're the person that they chose to buy from. So a simple thank you goes a long way. Let them know that you'll be in touch in a couple of weeks to see how they're getting on and the best way to reach you, and ask them what the best way to reach them is. If you want to check in with them in a couple of weeks, is Messenger the best place to find them? Do they prefer to talk on WhatsApp? Do they want to be part of your customer group or your customer broadcast channel that I know so many of you have? Just give them the choice to stay in contact, but something that works for them. If they're the type of person that jumps on social media once in a blue moon and they're going to miss your message in Messenger, maybe it's easier to send them a WhatsApp and they'll be happy to give you their telephone number, whatever. But be yourself in your messages. Totally talk to them the way you would talk to anybody. Be yourself, be friendly, and that is all you need to do when you're reaching out to your customers. So that's kind of like the first follow-up point of call, I would say. When we look at the second follow-up, I used to do this 2 weeks, okay, mainly because when I was in the field, we had a 2-week return policy. So it felt completely natural to follow up with them before this kind of expired. But also for you guys, I think it's incredible to touch base with them. They're going to have received it. They're going to have time to unpack it. They're going to have time to have started to use it, whether it's the skincare, whether it's any of the nutrition. They will have hopefully by this point got into a little rhythm of starting to use it. So 2 weeks is a great touch point from their initial order. You want to touch base, you want to check that their products arrive safely, how they're getting on with them, and ask open questions. How are you getting on with your daily essentials? There's not a yes and no answer, so it requires some form of response that's going to give you more information to go on. What do you like best about your products? Again, listen to what they're saying, because every bit of information that they give you gives you more kind of reasoning and more information to go back with them and, upsell or offer them another piece of value or send them a tip, anything like that. So, the extra value piece when it comes to a 2-week follow-up is when you're having these conversations and these open questions, just you're listening and think, oh, okay, are you using this correctly? I can send you over a how to use video. So you can send over any relevant how to use videos at this point, any relevant information to help them use the nutrition, or have a conversation about the ingredients and what they do. If they've got any questions, this is the extra value piece here, is something you can give extra information on. They don't get that from the shop unless they go all the way back into town, park their car, pay for their parking, walk all the way to the shop, hopefully find the same person that they bought it from, which never happens, and ask the question. And that is so time consuming. So here is where you can provide excellent customer service. On the Simon Orion YouTube channel, we have all the how to use videos. So they're great to send people over to make sure they're getting the best out of their products. So encourage your customers to document their progress based on, and based on their feedback. Maybe they can recommend a friend, or maybe you can recommend a complimenting.
Light off, baby, now, please. Turn that down a bit. Put the light off now, okay?
Just going to mute that one. So maybe you can offer a compliment. I can't say that word. A product that goes alongside something that complements what they're already using, or maybe you can tell them about the current offer that's on that month. But it's a great touch point 2 weeks in to see how they're getting on. And then the third follow-up is usually 2 months after their initial order. So why do we do this? So this is 3 touch points so far with the same customer. We want to see how they're getting on in their personal journey, either with nutrition or with their skincare. We want to ask questions, we want to offer advice, and we want to let them know of any offers that are coming on. But especially if their subscription is coming up for renewal,
Haley, you're muted.
It's all right, somebody just muted me, don't worry. So with the 2-month follow-up, we do it to see how their personal journey is going. Okay. We do it to offer advice, to offer feedback, to listen to those questions that they've got and provide the extra value piece, but also to let them know what's going on in the month and to see if there's anything else that we could provide for them, and to let them know how much we value them as a customer, because that's going to encourage them to stay on their second cycle, and to share their results, because at this point you can really give them a really good big up, a really good, instill some confidence, and wow, your skin looks amazing. Or I'm so glad to hear that your joints are feeling better and your hair's growing and your nails feel great, and anything that they're taking that's going to help them in the reasons why they decided to pick that product in the first place. So listen to their feedback during this conversation and offer anything else that you think is going to complement their products or their wish list in their personal journey. A little tip here is to encourage your customers to share their experience with their products and tag you on social media, because this is also a great opportunity to talk to them about being a brand ambassador as well, if that's something that they're interested in, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail in a second. But encouraging them to share their experience and tag you on social media not only showcases their journey to their customers, it opens up a doorway of a whole new network of people to you from that one customer, because they're giving that huge testimonial piece as something that they love, and they're directing their current audience to you in it as well. So it's something that used to be really, really effective. So how do we follow up with potential customers? And just before I hand over to Catherine and to give you her tips on this kind of section, Potential customers are people that we haven't quite bought yet. They haven't quite made that decision. We simply thank them for their inquiry, their comment, their interaction with us on social media or however they've got in contact with us. And we check in on them via social media. We still be that friend. We cheer them on their holidays or any successes that they're having. We compliment them. We make conversations about general things to stay in touch with them, and we let them know of any offers. Certainly, if they've taken the Simon Orion analyzer on the website and you know what their recommended products might have been, then at this point you can say, hey, remember when you've taken the analyzer and it came up that these are your recommended products? These are actually on offer this month, and I thought I'd let you know. Listen to their objections, and this is so key. This is something that worked incredibly well for me when I was in the field. Listen to their objections. Maybe it's money, maybe it's their budget, maybe they're unsure how to use it, maybe they're uncertain about ingredients and they're just a little bit on the fence. Note these down because these are incredible content touch points. Okay. I used to note down all the objections that my customers used to have, and I would turn this into positive content. I would answer these questions in my stories and in my social media posts. I would educate them on the answers to these objections and questions outside of our initial conversation, because if they're having these thoughts and concerns, maybe other people that are watching you are having these thoughts and uncertainties, and you can use this as positive content by answering and becoming that expert in your business and thinking, my customers are having these questions, so let's answer it in my stories and let's answer it on my social media posts, and let's have fun with it. But also you're going to be answering people and you're going to be ticking those boxes and almost funneling people down as to why they've got actually no reasons left not to invest in themselves and the products. So you can also overcome objections with the feel, felt, found method, which we'll just talk about in a second. And of course, with potential customers, just follow up, follow up, follow up. Remember, 5 to 12 times is needed for a follow-up before people make a buying decision. So that's super important. So before we look into implementing a follow-up system, I thought I would hand over to our lovely Catherine Murray to just talk to you a little bit about her tips. Someone who has got an incredible business, consistent brand champion to business, and also amazing business when it comes to subscriptions and retention as well. So I'm going to hand over to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Hayley, for that gorgeous introduction. It was so funny actually because you're going down through the points, and I felt a little bit like say for me, best man at a wedding. Do you know when you're doing a speech and I'm like, oh, can't say that point, she said that, can't say that, can't say that.
You can say it all from your own perspective.
So I absolutely love subscriptions. So this is my first time in a business where we operate with subscriptions. And as soon as I understood this model, I thought it was absolute gold because I just think it's incredible. I know Dan touched upon it on Friday, where each and every single month you don't start from scratch. You literally have all your cumulative subscriptions and you can build on that each and every single month. And I think maybe people have been in that business before and sometimes you tend to take it for granted, but honestly I've never ever been in a business like it before, and I think it's absolutely incredible. Also, subscriptions for me from a customer point of view is just incredibly tangible for them. For a lot of people, skincare scares the heckers out of them, and they always seem to think that skincare has this big price tag, and lots of people now are juggling cost of living, and they're juggling kids in school, and so to be able to break down their essentials in 3 easy, simplistic payments, I just think is absolute gold for them. So when you have the conversation with them and they go, oh, I can actually only pay $59.50 a month and I'm getting my 3 products, it's an absolute no-brainer. I honestly do think that your customers do become your friends. I do think it's really, really important to give that, like, go above and beyond customer care, because I think in the world we live in at the moment, customer care is null and void. So many people now are buying online and they're not getting that face-to-face interaction. So there's nothing nicer than someone reaching out and saying, oh, Haley, just saw it was your birthday. Happy birthday, or love your top, or how's Hannah getting on after her gymnastics competition. I just think it brings about that little bit more personalization. And at the root of everything that we do here at Beyond Beauty Club, we always highlight personalization. And I think we should do the same with our customer care. I also find as well that when you build that relationship with them, they trust you more. When you think about it, and I should have actually got the stats as well, there is a huge proportion of women who have yet to actually embark on a skincare journey, who've never stepped foot inside a beauty salon or a clinic. I think we kind of think sometimes that every woman in the world knows what to do and every woman has been inside a beauty salon, but there's a huge proportion of women who have just never ever taken that leap. It can be really, really daunting. I always compare it to, you know, when you go to the gym for the first time and you think that everybody in the gym has this perfect body and everybody in the gym has matching gym clothes and everybody in the gym eats really, really healthy. And then you go for a few times and you realize that people are just the same as you. Well, it's exactly the same for people when it comes to skincare and the salon. I think it's also really, really important to go back and just have a conversation with them. Like Haley said, follow up with them after they receive their order. So many people get these gorgeous box of products and they have no clue what to do with it. I had one lady who was removing her cleanser with her toner, who was literally removing her cleanser with her toner. And she couldn't understand why her toner had gone before her cleanser and then obviously couldn't understand why she wasn't getting the results that she needed. So it's really, really important to follow up with them a few times. People really do appreciate your honesty as well. I always say to my customers, I don't want you sitting on a load of product. I want to make sure that that product is on your skin and that you're getting the best results. So I'll always send them my WhatsApp number and just tell them that, like, that's my point of contact and that I may miss messages on Instagram or on Messenger, but if they drop me a voice note, I mightn't get back to it straight away, but I'll definitely get back to it within the day. I also make sure that I go through the pause and the cancel button. Remember that when you put the power back to them, they don't feel like you're just there to like make a sale. They feel empowered and they like to know that they can press pause and they can press cancel. I'll give you an example of a lesson that I learned at Christmas. Actually, I had one lady who was buying every single month from me 168 euros as her subscription. And I just touched base with her to see how she was getting on. She said, Catherine, I'm actually going to have to cancel my subscription because work very generously gave me a 700 euro voucher for, say, Brown Thomas, which will be the equivalent of your Harrods. And she said, I'm just going to use it up because it's a lot of money. And we joked and I said, listen, that's amazing for you. That's a bummer for me because as a business, I'm now going to miss out on a chunk of an order for the next couple of months. But I said, listen, I hope you really, really enjoy spending it. I'm sure you're going to be like a kid in a candy shop. Now, had I blocked and deleted her, the next part probably wouldn't have unfolded. But I swear to God, it wasn't definitely about 48 hours later when she happened to ring me and she said, Catherine, do you know what? I was just thinking, I love the exfoliating mask and I love the way my skin feels with your products. Do you know what? I'm going to keep the voucher. I need some new hair tools. That's what I'm going to spend the voucher on. So there's really is power in treating your customers, correctly. I really do feel. And since then, she has never, ever left me. And I don't think she will either. Which is great. Also at Christmas, and I really do want to start implementing it even for their birthdays, which is at Christmas, all of my customers that have gone, say, more than 2 cycles with me, I kind of graded my customers. So anyone who was with me really, really long, say 2 cycles or more, I actually sent them directly from the company the travel kits just as a little thank you, and just literally sent them a message to say, listen, look out for the postman. There's something nice in the post for you, just as a huge thank you for your continued support to my business. Because I really feel that number one, who doesn't love to get something in the post? And number two, it really just makes people feel appreciated. Now, obviously, for anyone that maybe has bought a one-off purchase or maybe was just with me for the first time, I just literally bought a pack of the say for me, the eye patches, and I posted them out to them as well with a little card. But I really just feel that sometimes a little small touch can just go a long way. And I am a big believer in, you know, definitely what you invest is what you get back. Let me see, what else had I got down? Oh yes, and also lately what I've started to do as well is, you know, when you go shopping and maybe you're down in Boots or you're down at Superdrug, and maybe there's like a special on your favorite cotton pads, because we all have our favorites of these little things. I might just send a picture and say, Gillian, did you know your favorite pads are on special? These ones were the ones I was telling you about. They're great for removing the exfoliating mask. Or I might say, Claire, do you remember these are the ones I was telling you about, because they're not hard, they're really soft, and you know the way that your skin flares up if you use anything too rough. And I just find those little things that when you get to know your clients, they really do make a massive difference. And that's let me see, is there anything else there that I needed? Sorry, now I'm after writing them down so I wouldn't go off topic. And yeah, I would just definitely say that, you know, as I said, nurturing your customers, you know, we all want to have an incredible customer base. And just out of those customers, I always think somebody could refer me to maybe their family member or the neighbor, and that person could come in and build an incredible business. And I remember a few years ago hearing a really good saying, and I always try to implement it, which is, you know, people build businesses. So when you build people, you will build a huge business. So that even starts with our customers, and our customers are our foundation of our business.
Amazing. I absolutely love that, Catherine. You're so absolutely so right. I love all the little touches that you do. It just makes such a difference with customers. I used to send little Christmas cards like Ariana as well, which is great. And it doesn't have to cost a fortune.
No.
You can get a pack of Christmas cards and just send your customers a thank you. And there's nothing like it when it comes to customer service. And like you say, the thought of you when you're looking at offers or things that are in the shops that remind you of your customers and from conversations that you've had is everything when it comes to customer service. So that is amazing. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thanks, Haley.
So we're going to quickly just touch on a follow-up system. So we are lucky in terms that we have a evolving back office, which is going to get bigger and better as time goes on, and you have your customer reports in there. But there's nothing like implementing your own follow-up system, because the longer you're here, the more customers that you gather, the more people that you have to manage. And people can slip through the cracks, or you can forget. And like I said, life gets a little bit busy, and a follow-up system doesn't need to be complex or complicated. You can obviously see who your customers are in your back office via your personal volume report or your customer report. But what you really want to do is diarize something that gives you a reminder to follow up with Catherine, because, you know, it's been 2 weeks, so it's been 2 months, and have people in that 2-2-2 flow in your calendar. So you having regular reminders to follow up with people. And that way you're building that really amazing customer service. So something that I will share with you that it's really simple that I used to do. So you want to track and diarize your follow-ups like a pro, so you'll never forget. So at the end of the day, you want to check your back office, and you want to look at your personal volume report, and you want to add these new customers into your follow-up system. And it doesn't have to be 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. It can be something that suits you. And you can do this in your phone diary, you can do this in a paper diary, you can even download apps. But honestly, I would keep it super simple. So I'm going to show you how I used to do mine. It is Apple kind of related, but I'm sure the same rule applies to an Android or anything like that. And it's what I find really simple. So you can see here, if you can see it on my screen, this is a screenshot of my actual phone, that it's come up on my reminders that on the 1st of April, Sally Moss ordered from me. So that's come up as a reminder for me to follow up. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'll show you in a second. So how to set up your reminder system in your phone. For ease, I do recommend using your phone diaries or your reminders app, okay? Because let's be really honest right now, you guys are not having 100 new customers a month. It is really easy to manage. If most of you are getting 5 new customers a month, It's really easy to implement 5 people into your diary or 5 people into your reminders app and keep adding them and building them and going back to your customers when they reorder something. So this is how I used to do mine, certainly until I got to a place where I didn't move on to an app-based follow-up system until I had like 300 plus customers. So certainly at this time, it's really manageable for you to do. And if you've got an iPhone, you've got the reminders app. I find this app super, super useful. I use it in my day-to-day life for everything because I have lists for everything. And I also used to use it in my business when I started out. And the sooner you do this, the easier it is. So if you've just started, brilliant, because you can do this really easily. And if you've been here a while, yes, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to input, but it's really easy for you to find a system that works for you in your phone. So I used to set up lists. I used to set up reminder lists, and I used to have January, February, March, all the months of the year in color coordinated lists in my reminders app. Really simple. And there's a little video in a second I'll show you. When you go into April, for instance, on the second screenshot, you can see that I've got Sally Moss. And in the reminders app on an Apple phone, not only do you get to set the reminder, but you also get to write a note. So in the notes, I've put daily ritual subscription and SPF. And the red is the reminder, the forward date for me to follow up. So on the 3rd of April, I'm going to have a pop-up that comes up on my phone at 9 o'clock in the morning to tell me to follow up with Sally. Okay, because it's been 2 days. And when I've followed up with Sally, I'm then going to forward date it for another 2 weeks. Okay, because I'm following the 2-2-2 system. So then I'm going to forward date it. She's happy, we've had a conversation. I can add to that note if I want to. Then I can forward date it again if I want to. And it also allows you to add tags. So this is a great way to search in your reminders for all your daily rituals customers or all your daily essentials customers or whoever. You can tag people however you like. Okay, so then when the time comes, you can have a reminder on your phone that will come up. But you can also do this if the reminders app doesn't work for you. You can also do this really simply if you have, I can't even find it on this phone, where's my other one? You can also do this really simply in your iPhone diary. The same rule applies if you're just using your standard calendar. I would pop in, so if Catherine bought from me today, 2 days time, I would pop in, follow up with Catherine, bought daily rituals, set a reminder, and it'd be in my phone, done. And when that reminder popped up in 2 days time, I'd ring or text Catherine, I'd follow her up as per my system, and then I would forward date that again for 2 weeks. And I would just keep going through that cycle of forward dating to make sure she was in my follow-up system. And there was always going to be an alert that popped up on my phone to remind me to follow up with her. And when you've got under 100 customers or so, this is really simple to do. So let me just show you in this video. So diarising your follow-ups and obviously increase your retention and your increase of potential customers. And you can do this in the reminders app, you can do this in your calendar, or you can just do it in a paper-based diary. If you're a tangible person, you can just get yourself a diary and you could just pop in, okay, on the 2nd of May, in 2 days time, I need to follow up Catherine. She bought the daily rituals. This is her telephone number. Then when I got to that day in my diary, I would follow her up and then I would forward data for 2 weeks time. And then I would forward data for 2 months time. So she was always being put through my calendar through the whole year. And every time I got to that date, I would check my follow-up list. I would do my follow-ups for them customers, and then I would forward date them. Now, I know that you guys have a list of everybody in your back office, which is incredible, but sometimes life can get so busy that we forget to follow up with people. And if they are having a problem or they're not sure how to use their cleanser properly or their toner properly, and they're not having the best experience, if we forget and only get to them 4 months down the line or when their subscription is due to renew and they cancel, it's because we haven't followed up with them. So we didn't know they were having any problems. We didn't know that they were not using their products correctly. If we catch them on the way in your system, then we can rectify, we can advise, we can offer exceptional customer service. So when we're looking at, I'll play this for you so you can see how I set up on the reminders app. So I've set up my lists. Hopefully you can all see this. Ooh. So I am saving this. I'm making a new list basically for June. And this is where I'm going to add in all my June customers. I clearly can't spell at this point. And then when I'm in June, I'm going to add in all my new customers for the month. I'm going to add in, you know, that they ordered on the 2nd. I'm going to add in what their name was. And I'm going to make a note. And you see at the bottom there, it said it adds notes. Then you can put in ordered daily rituals, sensitive skin. You can add in what their recommendations were if you've had a chat with them, and you know what their results were on their skin scan. Any notes that help you, remind you of that person or anything that might help you in the future. Then you can go to date. You can diarise it for 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. You can set a time. And then you can also add a tag, which I think is really helpful, because then again, you can search your reminders for everybody in relation to daily essentials or daily rituals, so on and so forth, or people with sensitive skin, or maybe you're adding your potential customers into this, people you've had conversations with who haven't bought yet, and you know that they're really interested in the vitamin C booster, but they just haven't committed. And you could just pop them in. Had a conversation with Catherine today, follow up, vitamin C booster. And then you can let them know when that might come on offer. Does that kind of make sense? It's really quite simple to do. And it's also really simple to do on your phone calendar if you don't have a reminders app. You can still set times and dates. You would just forward date it each time you're following up with them. So hopefully that makes sense. So implement something really simple into your business now while you can. Implement the follow-up flow at the days, the weeks, and the months that you follow up with them. And whether it's paper-based, whether it's diary-based, whether it's a reminders app, every single day I would check my back office. I would look for all my new orders and customers of the day. I would search for that person if in my app or my calendar, if they were a recurring customer, or I would add them in. Really, really simple, and you'll find something that works for you, that keeps it really easy to do, and like really, and you'll never miss anybody. There'll never be anyone that slips through the net that cancels and you won't be aware of it. Okay, because what we really want these people to do is stay in your business. So when we look at duplication through the follow-up, this is something else to quickly touch on before we close today. A lot of people say to me, like, I want to build a team. How do I do that? So duplication through the follow-up is also so key. If you have sales, you can have a team. If this is something you want to do, if you just want to sell products, that's absolutely amazing. If you want to build a team, you can do it by duplication through the follow-up. Because if you can sell, you can build. You know, following up is a great way to offer the opportunity to join Beyond Beauty Club. And because you've got them in your follow-up system, you're going to be getting to know them. You're going to be getting to know their likes, dislikes, their lifestyle, their family. And when you're following up with them, you're going to get to a point where you can ask comfortably, you know, if they've ever thought about doing what you do. Because if you think about it, how much does your best customer spend with you in a 12-month period? It's really worth having a little look at your customers. And sometimes if you're tracking these, or you can see their spend in your customer report, you can see how much your best customer actually spends with you in a year. So let's just take, for argument's sake, that you have a customer who orders the daily essentials and they have it on subscription every month for a year. So off that one customer, you would earn probably around £100 if you're on about the 20% threshold of commission, which is amazing for one customer and one repeat order every single month. But could you imagine if that customer loved their products so much and you built such a great relationship with them that you asked if they have anybody else that would love it too, that they would want to become a member and they would want to be coming to Beyond Beauty Club as well? Because if they really love the product, think how many people that they could share it with. Because if they become a member, it will be a lot more than the £99 that you are able to earn from that person. If they become a member and they are selling that, they've got their own subscription, they're sharing it with their friends, you go then to earn 5 to 10% in your layer 1, 3% in the group if you're a brand champion or above. But not only that, you're helping somebody get started straight away, and you earn £380 in fast start bonuses in their first 4 months if you can help them get started. So there's a way in which to approach this, because it's not obviously going to be for everybody. Some people do just want to be a customer. But when you're looking at duplication through the follow-up, how? I would say the normal approach would be on the second or third follow-up, on that 2-week or 2-month follow-up. You know, how are you getting on with your nutrition? How are you getting on with your skincare? What do you like best about it? Remember the conversations that you're having with them and the answers that they're giving you. Do you have any friends that you think will love it as well? And the key is, remember we spoke about them asking them to post a review on their social media to talk about their journey, you know, what they're loving about their skincare, what they're loving about their collagen drink, and to tag you. That's the point where you're going to realize how big a network that they've got. Because if they're posting something that they love, that having incredible results from, they're giving a review and they're tagging you, their friends are going to look, their friends are going to see, and their friends are going to comment. This looks incredible. Wow, well done. This looks great. Let me know what it is. Send me some information. Who do I contact? And at that point, when they have that interaction, that's the point that you can say, hey, I've seen your post. Thank you so much for tagging me in your referral. I really appreciate it. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? Because at that point, if they have, that's the point that you can talk to them about the business, because all of those recommendations and referrals that they're going to get from their review post can be their first customers. And that's when you're going to take the earning potential from their £99 to helping them get to brand partner 3 through all of their customers and all the people they were interested on that review post. So if they say no, they haven't thought about doing what you guys do and they're not interested, this is where you can obviously use the feel, felt, found method. And feel is being relatable to their, you know, to their objection. It's understanding where they're coming from, you know, like you felt that too, you didn't have time, but what you felt is, and that's where you're being relatable to their concern. And then your found is where you can overcome the objection and give a solution, you know, or give an example. So that I find works really, really well. And that's a whole different training in itself, the overcoming objections, but just to kind of touch on it. And if they say yes, actually they would like some more information, given how many people they've seen have commented on their journey and their skin journey and their nutrition journey and that review post that they've done for you. This is when you can say, great, you can introduce them to a video from Dan, you can introduce them to a Zoom call, you can talk to them a little bit more about becoming an ambassador. So this is also a great way to follow up through people and duplicate your business with people that have got strong networks already, people that have others interested in their skin journey, in their nutrition journey, and the problem solving that our products are doing for them. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you've got any questions. So it's such a great opportunity, not only to build your customer retention, your customer relationships, but it's also a great way to, if she says no, you've got that review post with however many people on it, all inspired by their, you know, that person's journey, that customer's journey and results that you can reach out to. And if they say yes, you've got somebody that can potentially become a brand ambassador in your team, and you can help them earn money for themselves, but then you can help mentor them and achieve more bonuses as well. So duplication through the follow-up is so, so important, and you'll get better and better at it the more that you practice and the more you have your follow-up system implemented into your business. So follow up like an absolute pro. I can tell you that the follow up is something that helped me succeed in the field. It gave me 325 plus customers, $168,000 in personal sales, but also customers that really stayed with me over time and I built relationships with, and I still have relationships with to this day. It also, some of my best customers that I built a relationship with came into my business and built the best teams through the same process of duplication through the follow-up. So what's next? Get to know your customers really well. Set up your follow-up notification system. Get your follow-up system sorted out. Implement your 222 or your however many days, weeks or months works for you. Upsell, nurture your customers, and look for the right opportunity to offer the opportunity to become part of Beyond Beauty Club. And the best way to do that is when they're telling you they love their products and what problems it's solving for them, but especially if they're willing to do a review post for you with a picture of themselves and tag you, and you can see the amount of people in their network that is also interested in finding out a little bit more about what they're using. So that is pretty much the whole of the follow-up training for you guys today. If you have any questions, let me know and I will quickly answer them in the chat. I'm going to just stop the recording here, I think, if I can. And yeah, let me know if you've got any questions quickly. I'm going to